a lot of times people they get burned out, doing one sport, or if they're doing triathlons, they get burned out on their training. What do you do to kind of mix up your training so you don't get burned out and it's not really repetitive? Do you mix it up at all, or?
Absolutely. As a multi-sport athlete, we have the advantages of having 3 separate sports included into one, but even with those you can get kind of burnt out. And I tend to focus on maybe one sport more than another just based on how I feel. Last winter I pretty much spent 3 to 4 months just running because I was just kind of burnt out on swimming and cycling. And but now I'm mentally refreshed and ready to swim, and I really didn't lose anything in those because I was continuing to train. So it's good to take little breaks from sports, especially in the off season. But the way that I stay refreshed is throwing mountain bike rides in, hiking instead of running, and just mixing it up as much as I can. And I'll even play a little basketball once in a while in the wintertime.
Nice. I took your triathlon class up at UNR a couple of years ago, and you're really big on zone training.
Yes.
Could you explain a little bit about that and give your reasons why you train that way?
Certainly. Most people, when you get into the sport, you might purchase a training manual, and you'll see where the author or the coach of the book has broken down the different intensity levels into training zones. And I find it useful to coach my athletes using, we have 5 training zones, and it just gives them something to focus on. Especially for a beginning athlete, you want to stress the importance of conditioning their aerobic capacity. And generally this is a low level, long duration type training. And certain things occur to the body only at this level. For example, the connective tissue becomes more resilient and seasoned, and that allows you to later on train at a higher intensity level. So by giving them a focal point, different training zones to focus on at different times of their training season and throughout their career, it just gives them a better place to identify where they are.
For many triathletes, oftentimes swimming is the weakest link. Swimming, it's not a natural sport. We're not used to being in the water. What kind of advice can you give to someone who's getting into triathlons, but they're just struggling with the swimming? They don't know, ways to improve, or they've just kind of hit a wall with their swim training. What do you recommend?
I recommend, and this is from personal experience, is that you get into a organized and coached environment as soon as possible. One of the worst things that you can do with swimming, because it is one of the most technical sports on the planet, is to become efficient, or I guess it could be efficient, at doing the wrong thing, because then it becomes almost impossible to relearn that. So if you start off and you're training and swimming incorrectly, but you adapt to that over time, and you're going to basically reach a dead end because you're just not efficient. You're working really hard but not getting much results out of it. So if you were to start off with a coach on the deck like Sierra Nevada Masters has, and with other swimmers, and that is going to allow you to work on the proper mechanics from the very beginning and ensure that your progression through the sport continues to grow the right direction.
Very cool. Last question. What is your favorite thing about living in Reno, training in Reno, and basically what's the best thing about this area?
Well, I'd have to say it is the people here. Coming from California, I moved here in 1990, so the first thing that struck me when I moved here was how friendly people were. And Reno is a really nice town. There are lots of great athletes here, especially in the multi-sport world, and more are moving here all the time. You've got good altitude, good facilities. The weather is great. Even in the wintertime you can get out on your bike most days and ride. And it's just a beautiful place. I love the desert, and I really wouldn't live any other place.
Cool. Well, do you have anything else you'd like to add?
Just thank you for this opportunity, and I'm just happy to be here.
Cool. Well, thanks for checking out our first interview with Scott Young. Like I said in the beginning, if you know of an athlete we should be interviewing, send us an email at info@activereno.com. Thank you.